What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy Royale YouTube channel. I am your host, as always, Kevin Coleman at DuBois_22, and we are back this week with another film breakdown. Last week we covered a great player. This week we're covering even probably an equal player, and we're thinking about like what he's been able to do in college football, and that is Hendon Hooker. Film breakdown here from Tennessee. Tennessee is coming off an amazing win against Alabama. That was one of the best games that I watched personally for the whole thing through probably the last 15 years. I mean, is up there, top 5 guy game that you like to see. Tennessee has earned this victory, and Tennessee deserved it. Tennessee fans out there, you guys deserve this win. What you've been through, that program, everything that's been there, like you guys deserve that party that you're probably still partying right now, even though it's going to be Monday. So great win there. Now let's talk about the guy, Hendon Hooker, quarterback for Tennessee, and let's just talk about what we're going to do, like we always do on this channel. Is we're going to go through kind of what he's doing stats wise, and then say, hey, let's go over the film. So let's look at kind of what he does well, strengths, weaknesses, quick little outlook at his game highlights from Alabama, and we'll talk about his pro outlook, because I think the question is, can Hendon Hooker be a NFL quarterback, right? And I think that's the long-term goal that we're going to look here. Now, this year, this is what we've seen. So 6'4", 218, we know Hendon's a very big player. He's got a good stature, those type of things. He's looked very good. Now, I think the one thing that we got to talk about, I know that this is, hey, he's been in college football for a long time, 6-year senior. When we're looking at this year, 119, 170, 70% completion percentage. So we've seen that improvement. 1,800 yards already this year, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception in 6 games. I also wanted to show just his rushing highlights. If you look at what he's been able to do from the round, he is a dual threat guy, and we'll be going to talk about that, about one of his strengths. This year, 59 attempts, 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think he moves pretty well, functional athleticism in the pocket too. I think he has that. If you're looking at what he's been able to do, now we know he started off his career at Virginia Tech. Didn't have the greatest years at Virginia Tech. I think they tried to make him a runner too much, and then you saw like his development as a passer. And I think that's the biggest thing, is he's had a heck of a development as a passer the last 2 years. I think that's what excites me the most. Now, he is older. We know that. You know, that's not a lie. We know that he's been playing in the league for a long time, or excuse me, college a long time. But Josh Heupel's been able to get a lot out of the young man, and you just saw it. You've seen it from his perspective, what he's been able to do. He has really been monumental in his development as a quarterback, and that's what you like to see. You can't knock a kid for getting better, right? Now, if we're going to talk about his strengths and his weaknesses, so we're going to do that first, and we're going to watch a little bit of film, right? So let's talk about his strengths first. So what does Hendon do well? So first of all, dual threat, right? So we just saw it on the tape, on the graphic about what he's been able to run, and we're going to see it on the tape here in a minute. But he's instinctive. He can definitely go out. He knows when to kind of run and when to take off. He's not a look first to run guy. Like, so for Hendon, he is I'm going to take the opportunities when he's there. And that's something he's improved on. When he first became a player in college, in which you've watched him, and I've watched him for a long time, a big college football guy, you know, he was more of a run first guy. Now you see that development. Even last year, you saw times where he kind of would take off when he maybe could have stayed in the pocket and made those throws. So you've seen that, which is good. That's a good improvement, right? So he's a dual threat. So if you're thinking of it from a Devy or C2C perspective, if you play college fantasy, you like that because you're looking at a guy that can actually score on the ground. His release. Now, I think his release is good. And when you're looking at what he's been able to do, I think he gets the ball out quick. He has that internal clock that's going really well. Like when he thinks hey, do I have it? And it's smooth. I think he gets the ball out there quick. Okay. And I think he gets out on time. I think one thing that this offense has done for him is that it's improved his delivery, his also decision-making, and his release of like when to go. I think there was times where his internal clock were wrong before he got to Tennessee, and now he got it. Like he's been coached up, and that's you know, Josh, that's just Hupel, right? That's what we're talking about. Now, decision-making, I think, is a bit of big improvement as well. So when you look at just what he's been able to do, you know, his interceptions have gone down. I mean, last year he only threw 3 interceptions, 31 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. So his decision making has improved. You see it too through his reads. I think he works through his progressions really well, and that's good to see. And like I said, stays poised. Internal clock's gotten a lot better the last 2 years. You saw it in the Alabama game. I think that was improvement too. So for his strengths, like he's been very impressive in this, and I think he's improved. Like this is a good thing. Now let's talk about some weaknesses. Now remember, when I go over weaknesses, I'm not talking down the player. These are just things that like, you know, pop off. So first, age. He's older, and he's an older prospect. We haven't really seen older prospects like this thrive in the NFL in terms of draft capital. When you're looking at just historically, guys like him don't get drafted in the first round. So can he buck that trend, right? Like guys at his age just don't do it, and they don't produce. So will the NFL kind of take that away? Now, fumbles. I think this needs to be talked about a little bit too. 17 fumbles since the start of last season. That's a concern, right? So when we think of like, hey, what he's been able to do, he's been good this year. But when we're talking about fumbles, that's something that the NFL is going to say, hey, what's going on with his fumbles? What's there? Now, it's not his hand size, though, right? So, I mean, everybody talks about hand size there. Like, it's not that. It's 10.5-inch mitts he's got going on over there. But fumble 17, that's the thing. Now, I do think his accuracy is interesting. So, I think that his mid-range accuracy is a strength. Like, I think he has a really good job, mid-range accuracy. I think he does a really good job of, pacing his deep ball, getting his deep ball out in space. I will say that some of his passes do sail at times. So, I didn't put like arm strength on here as a strength of weakness because I think arm strength for him is average. I don't see it as a plus. I don't see it as a negative. I think he's adequate. Like I think his arm strength's fine. I think his accuracy is the thing I'm more concerned about. When it's on, it's on. When he gets his delivery down, when he gets his release down, when he gets his decision making down, and he timing down, he looks good. When he rushes his process and he rushes those things, I think that's when you see his accuracy start to dip, and that's when he's prone to making not necessarily mistakes in terms of interceptions, because those aren't really his interception comes through, just missed throws. So when you're looking at his weaknesses, age, fumbles, inconsistent accuracy, I think those are the key. And I think the hardest one is like draft capital for age, right? Like, is he going to get that draft capital that quarterbacks his age and prospects his age don't have? Now, I do want to take a look at just a little bit of film from him. So if you're watching the tape and you're watching it on here, I think this is where his dual threat comes into play. So you'll see it here, his ability to kind of get through. And he played well, and he got up in the pocket. He's not afraid to climb the pocket. That just comes with experience and age, and he's got that, right? When we're talking about it, stands in the pocket. There's his release. Knows where his timing's at. Like him and Jalen Hyatt had a hell of a game. Shout out to Jalen Hyatt, 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's just incredible. But again, that's where you get the timing from. And I think that's where he fits in this offense. Now, I have seen some scouts and some people talk about, like, will this offense translate to the NFL? That's an unknown too, right? So when we're thinking of like him as a pro prospect, I think that's the question mark. Now, he makes the good read zone. This is a good throw here. So his offense has been suited to him. Now, will NFL teams do that? Can NFL teams do that? I think that's a legitimate concern, as NFL guys have kind of pointed out. Again, quick throw here over the middle, gets it over the top. I thought he played one of the better games against Alabama. Everybody should know he had 385 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he had 1 pick. And I think that he just played a very, very solid game. Now, I think he got lucky towards the end. Alabama had an interception. They called it pass interference. Now, it was a pass interference, but I think that he kind of got away with a throw there. But overall, I mean, he had 56 yards on the ground too. And I think he let the game come to him. I mean, without Hooker, they're not winning this game. And this is a monumental program win for the last 15 years. Again, steps up in the pocket here, delivers a strike. And this is where we talked about, like, when he's on, he's on. Like, that's a strike. That's an NFL throw right there. I mean, he got it to him there. Now, you saw that ball sail, though. So sometimes it sails off, right? And so I think that's when what the guys talk about. All right, when he's on and he hits those guys in stride, legitimate. When he doesn't, that's the question. Again, over the middle, gets it to his guys. Again, he knew where Jalen was going to be. Excellent throw, catch and throw there. So this is like the good, right? The good. He comes to him, and he has such a command of this offense. I love it, right? Again, knows where he needs to go, gets at him. I mean, these are big time throws and big time pressure too. And this is one of those things that we got to talk about. I mean, he knew that he had to get a touchdown here and come down. Then this is here, the game winning drive, 12 seconds, gets it over the middle. They get a timeout. Okay, he comes up to the line again, and they're saying, okay, let's see what he's going to do. 9 seconds here, steps back, knows where he has to go, knows timing. That's that internal clock. Makes a great freaking throw. And then this is the throw that, like, when you watch this and you're like, okay, who can he be? And you're just seeing the gamer in him. Knows where he's got to go, steps up. No, he gets hit, right? Okay, gets hit, steps up, still makes the toss to the guy, and they get it there. I mean, those are the things that excite you about him. Now, let's take a look at his outlook. Let's talk about that real quick. So what is he going to be? So I think overall, like, as a college quarterback, he's in the running for the Heisman. Like, that, make no mistake about it. The kid is going to go there. If they go undefeated, or if they at least try to almost beat, Georgia, they're getting close, those type of things. I think we're talking about him being kind of a Heisman candidate. Now, as far as NFL prospects, what is he? So I still have him outside of the first round in terms of my projections, what I have, my big board that I have too. But I will say he's moved up, right? So before the season, it wasn't a question. Like, everybody knows, like, hey, we're not going to put him in that category. Now he's making it a question. Now he's saying, okay, how to do? I just can't get past the age. Hey, you might want to tell me in the comments. Am I wrong about that? Like, I think the age is a concern. I think he has some of the tools, but I just look at historical numbers and historical. Maybe he's that outlier that breaks that trend. I struggle with that right now, just based on where I have him, like in terms of fantasy wise. I got him in the second round as a value super flex, like late second. But can he get in that draft capital with that quarterback? The biggest thing going for Hooker is that there's really not a QB3 in this class yet that really have separated themselves. Stroud and Bryce are there, but then who's that QB3, right? We're talking Hooker, we're talking Levis, we're talking Anthony Richardson. Now, I will say this, between him and Levis, it's close, right? Like when we're thinking of production, what we've seen from them. But I'm going to caution everybody out there saying he's a first round pick. I hope he is, because I really am rooting for him. But just in terms of what we've seen from him and what he is, in just that age, I'm going to just take a step back and just say, I don't know. I'm not sure yet where he's at, but I do want to say, like, hey, he's definitely pushed his way up there. So I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Hit that like and subscribe button if you like what we do. Look into the link. We have a new football guys show, college football show. Please hit that. If you like college football, our Patreon is there. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let us know what you think of the channel. But also in the comments in section, tell me what you think. Do you think Hendon Hooker is a first round draft pick? Until next time, we'll see you later.